It is time to make the sound to summon the stream. Say it with me now. I often have trouble doing that for the full 8 seconds it takes. I'm actually going to lower the speed of that transition to 6 seconds. All right. All good. Good morning, everybody. I'm Coil Quickcard, and welcome back to Mindustry. Today we are going straight into the campaign. So, last time I booted this up just to have some fun with it. This sector, probably my most heavily and well-defended sector, was actually being invaded, which is kind of hilarious because there's just nothing you can do to get past these defenses, and it was honestly kind of hilarious. But today, we are going to move on to the Ruinous Shores. I've already gotten my core ready. I am bringing a crap load of supplies with me. So let's head to the ruinous shores. Well, first, let's turn on the overlay. Let's head to the ruinous shores and have a great time. All right. So, first things first. We've got some solar panels. Can you remind me how to like repair pre-existing things like derelicts on the shore and whatnot? Because I know you had previously mentioned that I can, and not knowing how to do that was definitely a major contributor to why the last named level I did went so absolutely horribly and was such a pain in the ass because I never actually fixed the mechanical pumps. Deconstruct them, then immediately reconstruct it again. But is that the only way to do it? Because last time I tried to deconstruct derelicts, but then I wasn't able to replace the deconstructed pump with a new pump. Maybe there is something in here. Let me take a look. Rebuilding doesn't work. I know that much. Probably because you don't have the proper resources. Oh, that's actually possible. Because I don't think I can just select to rebuild. No, I can't. Okay, what if I do that? And then that. There's also a lot of pieces all over the place. I'm really going to have to figure out where the enemy is going to come from. Let's also familiarize myself with exactly which resources. Okay, let's... like, if I do that... This... Alright. We've got copper, we've got coal. Thank God I have coal after doing a whole stage without any coal. Copper, lead, coal. Actually, if I just check the planet map, it's going to tell me what we've got. Okay, so no titanium. We've got a bunch of scatters that are built. Okay. So if I deconstruct it, yeah, I can't just auto rebuild it. So unless there's a way to remove derelicts, but unless there's a way to remove these but still retain their like their form like you do when something is destroyed, I don't know what I could do. I guess I do have to just handle the whole thing manually, which is actually pretty annoying. Alright. Let's get some material lines going. Normally I would just do a center line. but let's just have a couple feed lines going. I'm definitely going to want to have power production going. Where are some of the most reliable? There's just so much here. Without titanium, though, that definitely limits what I can do. Let's try and figure out first where we are going to be attacked from. Oh, okay. Alright. So this is the spawning zone. So there's a long shoreline, but the shoreline doesn't really lead to my base, so I can probably safely assume that they are not going to be attacking from there. We've got waves set up here. So enemies are... I don't know what this would accomplish. I don't know what having waves here is actually going to do. So we've got 2 land routes. And then they'd probably break straight for the core. This area is separated. So this is pretty much the only land route they could take. So we can have this entire area be our killing zone. As far as power goes, we don't have any means to produce cryofluid because we don't have titanium. So differential generator is off. Steam generator, we need... Yeah, coal or pyrite, and also water. And I'm assuming it's not going to spawn... rotary. See, this is what I mean. Like, there's a rotary pump here. I can deconstruct that, but I can't rebuild it. That's the problem. But there's also guns here. I have a hunch that there is a second landing zone here. Okay. So... deconstruct, pause, reconstruct, unpause. Okay, so deconstruct. Okay. We're trying to reconstruct. It seems to want titanium. So that's not going to work. We've also got hails here. Okay. So I think I want to have power production going here, like in the middle, they might be less susceptible. Deconstruct large tank. Okay. Oh. Alright, that gives me 20 titanium. Okay. So now I have a rotary pump, which I guess requires fluid, which I could not have known because I do not have the ability to check the requirements of things that I don't know how to build, which is kind of annoying. I still think my best option for power is to have the pump lines set here. And yeah. Because I am wildly assuming that they probably are not going to have a bunch of water units rushing the center. So the steam generation requires water and then either coal or pyrite. You can use a melter and disassembler with scraps. That's true. The incinerator just gets rid of unwanted stuff. This outputs slag. Because I have no way of judging how effective that rotary pump is, I'm not going to rely on it. We can get some coal production going. That's probably about as efficient as we can make it. So the regular combustion generators are 60 units per second, and the steam generators are 330 power per second. So they're equal to 5.5 combustion generators. So if we put down a distributor for the coal line, run a conveyor out each side, set up a steam generator on each side, set up our first power node here. Then we're going to need a liquid router here. This is equal to 11. Yeah, this is equal to 11 combustion generators, which was a little bit less than 2 full distributors worth. So let's set up a third one, and that may just serve to be all. You can use a melter and disassembler for scraps for titanium. I don't think I can make a disassembler. No, okay, I can. It's called a separator. Okay. Okay, I can generate titanium. I can generate titanium. Ah, I see. No, wait, it needs titanium? Yeah, but it only needs 25 titanium. The doors might... Yeah, the doors require titanium. So I can disassemble the large doors. In order to get little bits of titanium. That's 3 large doors, which is probably going to be enough to build a separator. And then finally we need 1 more pump here to run into that. So in theory, this is enough to get my power production going. So each one of these takes an input of 6 water per second. Pretty sure we've got more than enough mechanical pumps running. I can always just lay down some arcs real fast for the first wave. I mean, hell, for the first couple waves, I could just intercept them manually. Okay, that's fine. So that should be the power production I need. We are generating titanium like I wanted. Come on. Get that deconstructed. Alright. So, yes, we do have the power output. That is very, very good. So next thing, like you've suggested, we're going to use the melter, which takes power. So I need like a proper scrap field. Where is... scrap field. There's a few smaller scrap fields. Okay. Alright. Yeah, let's take this all apart. Cool. Okay. So I actually have enough for a laser drill. This will put out 1 unit per second. These are good for 45 a second. The melter does not require any silicone, but the separator does. So we're going to put the separator there. And that's 25. The laser drill requires 65 power per second. If we can run water line into it, we can more than double its speed. So at 1.92 per second, we can round that up for 2, multiply that by 2.5, and essentially this thing will be putting out 5 scrap per second just on its own. But the melter really doesn't need that much. The scrap 6 per second. So a single laser drill put right here. And then 2 pneumatic drills at maximum output are able to put out a total of just over 6 per second, which is enough to power this thing. So then we're going to need a line of power nodes. And I can always scale up my operations. That's not going to be a problem. But if we can see how much we are able to output, I don't know how efficient this is going to be to get titanium, but if we can get at least a trickle going, that will be good. You can drag power nodes? Can you? I can just be like, oh, I didn't know that. I never know what little things in this game are actually going to... oh my god, you can drag around pre-built things. Or things you haven't quite built yet. Okay. So that is actually not what we need there. What we need there is the melter. Okay. And then the separator can handle 4 slag per second. So 1 melter may be enough to begin this experiment. We need a conduit output line, which turns... So now we've got scrap feeding into a melter, melter outputting slag to a separator, separator outputting raw material, and raw material feeding into the core. So I think that's good. Then let's also get a lead line up and running. This one is completely closed off. Yes, we can have that one there. Okay. Yes, that is everything on the lead lines running. Let's avoid running over the coal. Okay. First things first, get the power node set up. Alright, that is good. We are about to have our first enemy wave. Okay. Let's get ready to intercept manually. Alright, top left. Alright, one air unit. Understood. So they're not spawning ground units, but they are spawning air units. Understood. So what we are definitely going to want to have is our scatter defenses, which are going to need lead or metaglass. What was metaglass production again? The kiln, which requires lead and sand, and also requires power. So lead and sand. Oh, well, if I was looking for a scrap field, this can absolutely provide more. So this is the output. It seems fairly basic. And you're right, I did not power or water the laser drill. We've got enough water running out of this line that we can run another conduit here. As far as I can tell at this point, I am absolutely running more water than I need, which is a very good thing. Let's try to avoid the coal field entirely. Go up and over and up and over and up and over and up. Okay. Now we are outputting. That is perfect. Okay, so the drills are also capable of being watered in order to increase their output speed. Cool. Alright, now let's worry about the... here we go. This is going to be used for metaglass production. So the kiln needs 1 lead and 1 sand. So it needs an equal amount of lead and sand to produce metaglass. Cool. So what are my output rates? We can actually just afford to put... You actually just cut off water in your power grid. How did I do that? I'm afraid I don't see what you tell me that I did. I don't comprehend it. But we're going to put another router here. Look at the pipeline. I'm looking at the pipeline. I'm not seeing what you are seeing, unfortunately. Okay. So we have an output pipeline. Near the pumps. Okay. Yes, you are right. There we go. Okay. So this is going to be for metaglass production. So we need to run kilns. I think I can support 3 kilns. There we go. We just got to run our lines into each one. There we go. So that is the sand distribution. Okay, this one is not at all distributed in a useful way. I'm still going to need an output line. Also need more pumps. Yes, I am going to need that. Okay, let's play this more intelligently. We'll put our distributor here. We're going to run our kilns here. That is 1 line. That is 2 lines. And this is a 3rd line. And here we need junction in, and here we need junction, and then that lets me have an output line of metaglass. So metaglass, we need to go to a number of spots. But one place I know for sure I want it is here to defend the pumping area. Scatters have a wide enough range. That it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Okay, we're going to put him here. There we go. A whole bunch of those. And then we are going to need the metaglass output line. Feeding into that scatter. Okay. There we go. Okay. Right, that all needs titanium. Which I do not have. Because the melter is the only way I can produce titanium. Okay. So, slight problem. Okay. Let's scout the next things. We've got a ground unit here. And a ground unit there. Okay. All of this, I really don't care if it's destroyed. I'm not utilizing any of it. And then this up here is the higher priority since it's actually closer to stuff I am using. Okay, that's fine. Deconstruct derelict containers. Cool. Let's just take that all apart. That's another 10 titanium. Yes. Okay, so we are running more than enough slag. So we can go with 2 more melters. We can run a distributor. And the melter has... No, the problem isn't that. The problem... One melter can run 3 separators. Yeah, the problem is not that. The problem is up here. So we're going to put a melter... We're going to move a new melter here. Just get rid of all that. And that is going to run into a distributor. I'm assuming the distributors can't actually handle liquid. And I don't have... So I guess it's going to have to be routers then. And the separators also require titanium. Okay. So... Building this stuff in this narrow channel was not the best plan I could have come up with. We're also going to need a new conduit here. Going to have to run a line off of that for when it does eventually start working. So the main thing we're just waiting for is to get up to 25 titanium in order to finish that separator. Okay. In the meantime... Okay. Stop. That's fine. That's fine. Rebuild. We still don't have any of the metaglass production. The priority... The priority is those. Oh my god, it never finished that one tiny line. Thank you. We need that to produce more titanium. Okay, duos can run copper, and scatters can run lead. There's not much copper or lead here. Are there any nearby copper or lead areas here? Okay, there's copper at least. Getting a lead line here. Alright. There's some containers. So, in order to play this efficiently, you have to know what things to deconstruct for materials that you need when you have no means of knowing what materials went into constructing them. That's kind of dumb. If there was a way it would be able to tell me, hey, if you deconstruct this, you get these things back, then it would actually, like, make a lot more sense, you know? Okay. That's fine. Alright, we are now outputting metaglass. Cool. That's fine. Dude, just take him out. Thank you. There, that's fine. The next wave is in 40 seconds. Okay, the metaglass is getting to the scatter. All of those are functioning. This... Okay. So this is actually outputting so much material that we're going to have to run a separate feed line. This is outputting a crap load of lead, so we're producing plenty of that. The power network is producing a surplus of 505. That's good. These things are all about to be loaded in. Okay. So I think I may end up just going with my good old... What are these? Salvos fire quick bursts of bullets. With homing ammo. So if I load up a bunch of salvos with silicone inputs, we can just have giant things firing homing things. You recommend the Lancers. Those are the ones that basically fire like a giant beam of energy. And each one uses more than a whole steam generator worth of power. I think I want to try salvos. So what I'm going to need is silicone and sand, or coal and sand. Alright. So let's get this started. Let's also get rid of all of this just so I have more room. I still cannot intuit complicated production lines very well. So I'm just going to go with my old standbys here. Don't worry, your schematic... First of all, I had to completely look up how to save schematics of my own. And I did specifically go through the effort to make sure that I saved your schematic. So when I need to do a triple input, I will absolutely be relying on that. And I thank you so much for helping to make that possible. It is going to be an absolute lifesaver in missions to come. I can 100% assure you of that. This is less efficient, but ultimately it's just easier for me to like keep track of it and understand exactly what's happening. So that's why I am doing it like this. And we're going to run a junction, and we're going to run another junction. That's going to go here. This is going to go there. This line is going to run here and go across two more junctions. And then it has to go here and here and run across a junction in order to go here and here. And then this line has to go here and here. And then across a junction and a junction in order to go here. And then this is the output line of the silicone production. And all of that is going to run into the first line of ground defenses up there. Oh, this is so inefficient. There is no reason for the map to be built like this. Nope, 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 nope. Prioritize construction over deconstruction. Okay, let's see this work. Oh, that was beautiful. Okay, reconstruct. So if the pattern holds, the next one is going to be ground units. I can already see where it's going to clog. Yeah, probably. Nope, nope. Prioritize construction. Oh, right. Power. It helps if they have power. Okay. So this one is not functioning. So we're going to run an input line over. Cool. And then we're going to run this junction. No, we actually don't need a junction there because that's an input line. This coal is being delivered. Yeah, this is the coal line. It needs to fill. Okay. We're just going to get rid of all of that. Oh. Okay. I actually had two feed lines going into the same one with sand. So we can have this go here to feed into there. And this sand line goes into here. Coal line there is fine. So I run a junction off of here to feed coal into there. It is absolutely mega scuffed. Okay. So now the problem is that it is... Okay. So this one is the problem. Alright, that is letting through just pure... Okay, okay, okay. Let me show you how we fix this. first things first. I have a bridge conveyor that goes here. That is going to let the sand get across to that side. Then, can I do overlapping bridge conveyors? Like, is that a thing I can do? No, not really. Okay. Alright. You know what? New plan. Everything on this part is just not functioning the way I want it to. So, what are we dealing with here? I'm assuming, yeah, the bigger, tougher ground units. This map is so huge. It's just an absolute problem. The metaglass production needs to be prioritized. So it's okay if those ones just move up and damage stuff. It just doesn't give me the time I need, and the map is so stupidly huge. Okay, come on. Oh, good. My attacks can be stopped by my own walls. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Dude. Okay. At least we can have 2 silicone production lines. And the silicone production lines can be sent to handle some salvos. And the salvos take titanium, which is at a premium for the time being. Okay. I feel like I'm going to end up having to replay this sector, and it's going to be entirely just because it is constructed in such a way that it is completely impractical. Like, it's putting all this time pressure on me. I don't know what you would be able to do on this stage if you weren't able to discern how to produce titanium. And great, okay, we're just in time for the next wave, which is spawning air units. And I have to reconstruct a whole bunch of stuff. Cool. Ah. Okay. So that's why we had waves here. That's great. Okay. So we're going to need waves and waves, which means we're going to need to run Even more liquid routers. We can deconstruct all that. Sure. Even more liquid routers. And we're definitely going to need more pumps. So... just run the pumps like that. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, like, taking care of that, please. Thank you. Okay, do we actually have... Okay, apparently my entire thing of building here got somehow erased. So I guess we're going to have to rebuild it. Come on. Build it. I don't have long. Cool. Now, are we actually producing titanium again? No, because some... Oh my god. When your ship gets destroyed, does it, like, erase... Okay. When your ship blows up, does it erase any unfinished schematics that you were doing? Okay. That is an exceedingly annoying feature. That is really, really annoying. Okay. So now we've got a bunch of extra stuff coming off. So we are going to have... a distributor here. Coming off of the sand production, which is feeding into 2 silicon smelters. And we're going to have another distributor here with lines feeding into these. Okay. I've got so much space to work with, I might as well be inefficient about it. Yes, I'm sure that we could use the schematic. Like, that is a thing that we could do. The thing is, I do not have enough experience with the game to understand how to properly read the schematic. I do not fully comprehend the way that it is actually functioning. And as a result, I really cannot efficiently modify it. That is the issue. And I'm already under severe time pressures. Okay, is this a flying unit phase? No, of course not. Of course it's ground units. So if we can run water into them, they will be more efficient. They would need 12 per second, so between the two of them, they would need 24 units of water. So if I put down 3 pumps to eventually build, then that'll be enough to really speed up their rate of fire. And then we're also going to need to run a router off of the silicon line to come all the way down here, across the metaglass line, past the primary power production pumping station, all the way down here. I literally don't even know where I am on the mini-map at this point. And then we're going to need to see where the hell they actually go at that point. Okay, I'm going to trust that the production line here is okay. Also, apparently there's 30 waves of enemies. So that's great. And it's still only 50 seconds until the next one. Come on. Come on, go into the firing line. Okay. That is fine. So the primary path they go through as ground units is here. So we can load up the salvos with an offshoot from the primary silicon production line. Yes, I am fully aware that I need defense, and I need defense quickly. I am not ignorant of that fact. Okay. Right, I blew up, so all the previous schematics were destroyed. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Is there anything there that needs to be reconstructed? No. Okay, good. So, pump, pump, pump. So, we run the pump to here with a liquid router, and we run the first line into this salvo, the second line into this salvo. So at this point, those should be good enough to handle most ground threats at this point. So then we need another 3 pumps here. This was so much easier when I was just running a bunch of arcs, you know? Arcs never let me down. Arcs never made me have to deal with this sort of thing. What happened to the good old days with just the arcs? Also, apparently I got an achievement for destroying 1,000 enemy units. Okay. So now that we've got that established, what I need is to run a power line up here and menders. And then I also need to run a power line here with menders. And we are going to need a few walls. But I don't want to completely block off the path, or I'm afraid it will alter their pathing. Okay. Cool. And now we need to start investing in batteries. Okay. That is good. Water is flowing through the systems. Let's start investing in batteries. Small batteries have a power capacity of 4,000. Large batteries have a capacity of 50,000. Oh, dear God. Those are huge. Yeah, we could go ahead and invest a couple things into that. That sounds fine. Menders are taking 18 power a second. Okay. It could also boost with silicone. These things use 90 power per second. Yeah, I do know I can drag batteries. I don't think it's really going to be an issue. Those batteries are stupidly large. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we are beginning to store power at a very high rate. Are we on air or ground units? Looks like we are on ground units. I want to see how effectively these are able to handle. Oh. Okay. That's how effectively they can handle it. Holy crap, man. Oh, dear God. Wow. Alright, since I finally got a lull, let's actually increase our slag production. Oh, God, that feels so much better. So we are still producing a massive surplus of power. Which does mean we can afford to start putting in some Lancers. This is going to be hilarious. Okay. I do think I need to run a second scatter line off of here. That's fine. Drop a router there. Drop a line coming off. It took so damn long on this level to actually feel like I've stabilized into like a reasonable position. Let's run 2 more melters. And 3 more separators. Okay, that's fine. Laser drills, laser drills, laser drills, laser drills, laser drills. A bunch of power going up. Power to all these systems. Power to all these systems. That's fine. We'll run into a distributor, which is going to evenly output to both of my melters. And run a bunch of input lines. There we go. Okay. And then yeah, we'll just run directly into that. And then a liquid junction, which outputs here and outputs here. And then this will output into another liquid router. I put down a liquid junction instead of a liquid router up there, didn't I? Whoop. That's fine. Just make sure that is a liquid router instead. Okay. And then we'll run our output lines off of that. Yeah, screw it. This is going to be a long path. A titanium belt would be good. You know, I think you're right about that. If I can just get a giant... another couple feed lines here set up, though, then I can always... just run a sorter. I feel confident that my current setup is going to be sufficient to handle whatever units they are dealing with. Oh. Okay. Or they completely ignore my line. That's fantastic. Okay. Great. Okay. Let's rebuild everything. Alright, we're out of titanium. Damn it. Right. And that means that my plans broke. Because of course they did. That is an extremely annoying element. Okay. That's fine. We can just have 2 extra feed lines of scrap material coming in. And now at this point, I really need to make sure that the pathfinding does not consider this to be a viable path. This needs to be the only path that they can consider. Which means I also want to run some copper walls there as well, just to cut off. Oh my god, there's so much just abandoned crap on this map. Okay. Okay, that's fine. There we go. I want your pathfinding to go straight into those. That is actually absurd. Ah, okay. So I see a slight problem. We just need to make the pathfinding believe that there is only a single path to victory. The melter is not powered, is it? Okay. All of the extra production is flowing. That is very, very good. Power production is actually dipping below the acceptable levels. Judging by the speed, I can already tell those are air units. I was very wrong. Those are ground units. So that's not going to be a problem. That's actually insane. Okay. Not bad. I need to increase my power production. This is an absolute mess. Your silicon factory are broken. Is it? Ah. Um... Oh, I never powered them. They're not broken, they're just completely non-functional. Okay. I have some more coal down here. And frankly, it's looking a little bit busy here right now. No, the thing I need is water. No, it's not an issue. Oh my god, the water line is so dumb. You know, I'm glad that I called this stream, I must master my fluids. The distributor will be clogged? How is the distributor going to be clogged? Does it not output sand like that? Okay, fine. So it'll output directly into turrets, but it won't output directly into production? Is that the idea? Okay. So let's go ahead and have a couple of laser drills. And this is going to run into a distributor, which is going to run into 3 more steam generators. Okay. Then we run... Whoop, not pumps. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see. I see what you're saying. Okay. Do you see now why, like, I've never picked up the game Satisfactory? I do not have the mind or the vision for this sort of thing. Okay. We've got enough silicon to make this work. We've got enough titanium. Okay. Oh. No, you've got power. What do you mean you don't have power? You're not... Oh, right. I haven't finished the main feed line yet. There we go. Okay. That's fine. Good. The menders are all set. We've got the power running in. And just to get a little bit more on the feed lines. Very good. So power production is absolutely running at a surplus again. And because of that... Oh, good. They're doing the construction outside again. How pleasant for my ears. I think that's right. Yeah, we'll just run a bunch of Lancers. Actually, yeah, let's keep an eye out and see how this goes. Because this is going to be hilarious. Alright. And that did not even dip into my supplies. Okay, everything in the silicone factory is working well. So the one thing I am not replenishing in my core is... coal. So let's run a line to feed the extra coal. So the overflow gate only outputs if the front path is blocked. And we'll just output like that. And there. So now I have coal feeding into the core as well. Just in case I need more coal. And we could definitely use a few more large batteries. Just in case. And then we're going to start just building piles of Lancers. Lancers and then arcs wherever Lancers don't fit. Because I fully expect that these things are going to start causing some real trouble as they get into bigger and bigger groups. We still have more than 10 waves to finish. Alright, well, that worked. There is absolutely no practical reason for the map to be this big. Okay, that's fine. That was able to... yeah, my power production is fine right now, looks like. And we could start gathering some more scrap. Alright, I really want to see this. And then also, I want to run illuminators. Whoa, those guys are fast. No, don't you shoot at me. Okay. Let's take a look at how the power network changes as the enemies are dealt with. Hello, Suleiman. Welcome to the stream. Pleasure to have you. So if I just build a copper wall higher up, then they probably won't ever be able to get it within their firing range. Do you want some advice? You are welcome to give me any and all advice you want. However, please do so with the understanding that my degree of incompetence is high enough that I may not be able to even act upon your advice. I will attempt to integrate that device, which I am competent enough to both understand and possibly integrate. So, I think salvos are my new friends, because they are very effective. What do ripples do? Shoot cluster of shells at ground enemies over long distances. There's also the possibility that if the Guardian is an air unit and it targets things differently than what I've already been dealing with, I could have some very major issues. Oh, right, I wanted to build some illuminators down here, just for the hell of it. Perfect. Alright, how goes the battle? The battle is over. Don't make your defenses on one place. Make some defenses at the back, so if any enemy pass there, be another defense. Yeah. There is absolutely wisdom in what you are saying. My issue... Where would I even build my defenses off of here? In complete honesty... Yeah, or you could just bulk up one place and become an impenetrable wall. Impenetrable wall is more my style. Yeah, the enemy AI is finding the thinnest wall to pass through. Yes. That's why I have blocked up some of these side areas with walls. I am trying to make sure that I funnel the enemies as efficiently as I can. Alright, look, I'm gonna be honest. I am terrified that, like, a flying unit will spawn. And... like a Guardian or like I'm terrified that it will spawn the Guardian and the Guardian will be flying and just beeline for my base. I'm actually terrified of that. So I want to make another lead line into some scatters. Scatters are pretty damn powerful. Whoop. And we'll just put it right over there. Can you hear that lovely sound of construction going on in this building? Even through my headphones, it is very, very loud. Can I see your core for a sec? Sure. Oh. The battle goes well. Not bad. You can put containers near the core to make them bigger. No, actually, I do not believe I can. I do not think I have actually unlocked that possibility yet. How? It unlocks before this area. Well, if you can point out to where on my research map I can access them, I am absolutely willing to, willing to believe you. It would not be the first time I have missed something. But as far as I can tell, I have unlocked every piece of research that I have access to at this point. I've made a specific point of making sure that I've unlocked every research as soon as I have access to it. Not bad. Okay, everything is holding up pretty well. And War General, you don't need to worry too much. Like, honestly, I will take as much information as I can for a game like this. Just with the understanding that a lot of the information that I get is completely unactionable, simply due to my degree of inexperience and ignorance with the game. Alright, what are you sending in this time? Nothing particularly scary. As far as I can tell, all of my systems are pretty well intact. It's at the router branch. Okay, whoops. Not that one, tech tree. Okay, at the router branch. Nope. I have absolutely not unlocked any kind of storage. We need extraction outpost, biomass synthesis, an unknown level, and an unknown material. Ah, okay. They're actually starting to get through the line. That is rather impressive. Pretty sure you are not going in difficult order. If there is a difficult order, it is not the order I would choose to take. So, I have also now realized something. I do not have... this sector was marked as medium difficulty, but it was also the first one that I saw. Okay, we're going to run a router here. Going this way. Run another router here. Just so I can have some waves active. Just in case. Just in case they want to do anything sneaky with fire. And you said the distributor for the salvo is clogged. The distributor for the salvo... it looks like all the production is okay. No, why is it? Yeah, there is coal on that line. How the hell did that happen? I don't have the slightest clue how that happened. Is this an ongoing problem? There's not a single speck of coal anywhere else on the entire production line. Oh, it might have been when I was playing around with the silicone. It may have honestly taken that long for like 1 or 2 pieces of coal to distribute across the entire line. Okay, yeah, that works. Alright, now we need to reinforce this area. So... let's build a Lancer. I don't know exactly how... how stingy the game is with needing space in order to affect the pathing. So I'm going to try and always leave an area that is 2 by 2. You need to capture biomass synthesis facility for containers, bro. Cool. Here is overgrowth. I can't go there. If you can show me on this map where the biomass synthesis container is, or the biomass synthesis facility, you are welcome to show it. Ah, there it is. Yep. Cool. Well, if there was anything indicating an intended order, then I have never been able to spot it in the UI. So here we are, and this is what we're doing. I can't act on information that I do not have. I have found that this is often a surprising piece of information to many people. But ignorance is a thing that exists. And because ignorance exists, sometimes people are not able to act with perfect information before they are aware of the perfect information. It's a very strange phenomenon, and it does bother me sometimes too. I just got this on Steam. Come on. There we go. Fun fact, it's free on Play Store. Yeah, but isn't Play Store mobile? I much prefer PC gaming, especially when it comes to wanting to be able to record and stream. It's simply easier to have everything on the on a single platform where I have access to all of my utilities. I am not at a degree of competence with this game where I think it would be satisfying for anyone to play with me. They would have to severely curtail their own abilities to accommodate me, or otherwise would just completely dominate in every aspect. How? Look! Look at this! More coal! You keep saying bridge, but I'm pretty sure there is no problem with the existing line. I'm pretty sure that's just a bit of extra. Check the line carefully. Okay. Let's look at this line very, very, very slowly. Tell me if you see where the coal got on the line, because I'm pretty sure that was just from the pre-existing problem. I'm starting to think you are blind. Okay, there. You're going to have to be way more specific than there or back a little. You need to provide careful, thorough explanation of the exact locations you are looking at. There is stream delay, and there is a crapload of stuff on the screen. So words like there are not entirely helpful. It's near the smelts. Okay. Look carefully. Okay. At the coal line. Yes. A boss has spawned and you have me carefully looking at the coal line. Look at the coal line next to the silicone line. Okay, I am carefully looking at the coal line next to the silicone line. The bridge on the coal line. You mean this bridge? Okay. No, I think I'm actually just going to let this sit. I'm having a lot more fun just slowly staring at this until someone can describe to me exactly what the problem is and how to fix it. Because frankly, I consider it to be, well, very morbidly satisfying for myself. I want to see how long it takes for you to clearly communicate the problem and how to fix it. This is now a challenge to you. You have to figure out how to clearly, concisely communicate a problem and describe its solutions. The bridge is connected to the silicone line. Very good. We now have a clear communication of the problem. Now you have to carefully and concisely explain the solution in specific actionable steps. This is now a stream about communication and problem solving. A very high level challenge. Think of yourselves as technical writers, and you are attempting to describe to the ignorant lunatics using your products how not to fuck them up. Put the bridge one block under. Okay. We have now been offered a clear and concise solution. We have now acted upon the clear and concise solution, and in theory, we have now completely resolved this issue. So, based on that, I now have a perfect understanding of what was not working. I now understand exactly what was happening here. So here is the next challenge. Here is the next part of the communication challenge. I will not move from this spot until one of you can clearly explain exactly what the problem was in as clear terms as possible. Here it is. This is Communication Challenge Level 2. I believe in you. I know you can do this. It's absolutely possible to explain it. It took me a while to understand it myself, but now I do. So we're going to use this as a teachable moment. I could also open up my research and start learning some new stuff, but I'm going to have a little bit of fun here torturing this. Going to have a little bit of fun here just for my own sake. I will burn it all to the ground. The bridge's output was connected to the silicone line and was sending coal on the line. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. I did not consider that the bridge container endpoint would have functioned as multiple output directions. I did not know that that is how they functioned. The bridge is outputting on all sides. There it is. That is the exact one piece of information. That is the one piece of information right there that I desperately needed to know but was completely ignorant of. The bridge is outputting on all sides. You just hit the exactly right, War General. Congratulations. That was the key piece of information that I needed to learn from this experience. Not merely that it was broken, not merely how to fix it when it is broken, but precisely why and how it is broken. And now, in the future, I will be able to avoid repeating that exact same mistake. That is wonderful. Also, it's kind of a shame. I'm actually quite curious what the Guardian was. But, well, I guess we'll never know. Alright, we can unlock some new research. Not a lot of new research. Yikes. Or you could start... naval factory. Okay, so we can produce naval units. We have successfully unlocked 2 things. Interesting. Not bad. Alright. Back to this. The biomass synthesis facility. I don't have any indicator that anything is under attack right now. We do need more silicone. So let's go ahead and adjust the silicone line to feed into the core a bit. We're going to have an overflow gate. This time we have the bridge outputting in multiple directions, but I think that's going to be okay. Because ultimately, the two lines it's outputting on, I still just want to just have feed into the core. Sure. And just keep going. There we go. Okay, we have a silicone feed line into the core. So we're just going to grab a little bit extra. And then we're going to move on to the biomass synthesis facility. And we're over 2,000 now. So I believe we can move on to the biomass synthesis facility, which is somewhere. Okay, biomass synthesis facility. We're moving in. We're taking max everything. Let's move on. Let's see if we can knock out another named sector today. So we've got copper, lead, sand, okay. So once again, we don't have any naturally occurring titanium, but we do have scrap. Biomass is my favorite sector in terms of what it gives technologically. All right. Whoa. Whoa. See, this is what I absolutely hate. This is what I hate. I cannot reconstruct any of this stuff. So I have no idea what any of it is. I mean, if you know a way to reconstruct it, you can't click on it. If you attempt to... Oh! No, you can. Okay. Alright. So now I have... That is such a dumb mechanic. Because I cannot think of a single tooltip in this game that explained that that's something that you can do to try to delete a derelict and then immediately stop from deleting a derelict and then repair it. I really hate that. Also, a lot of derelicts are here so that you can get resources. But it doesn't tell you what goes into building them, and you can't get the information from something that's already sitting on the ground. So I have no idea what a cultivator is, what it does, how to work it. Does it unlock in here when I have access to it? There's a lot of stuff here. That I haven't been able to build before. I don't see a cultivator. This is one. This here is one of my big problems with this game, is that it does not give me the information I need in order to make certain decisions. So there's clearly like a ton of stuff here that I could work with, but I have no idea how to utilize any of it. So that's kind of disappointing. I'm going to assume, if I had to guess, that enemy units will spawn here and here. Meet me at the Mindurka sandbox after the stream. That's not going to happen. There's other things I need to do with myself. Okay. Okay. Is this like the only water source I'm going to have? That is very, very little water. I will explain the game, though. Yes, and I appreciate that, but I do not have the time to do that. And my whole point of this stream is ultimately to learn things myself, including all the struggle that goes along with it. Is that seriously the only water supply? No, there's more water there. I want that to happen, but I think he needs some help. It is true that most of my therapists over the years have been of the opinion that I need some help. You are definitely right about that. We've got large doors. Additive reconstructors. What the hell does that mean? What the hell is an additive reconstructor? We've got water. Okay. We've got water and sand. So I think I have what I need to make pyrite. We've also got scrap. If I can generate silicone from or if I can generate titanium from scrap, is there a way I could set up a differential generator? We would need to generate 6 cryofluid a second. So 1 cryofluid mixer, which requires titanium. Coal generators would be easier, but they're also something I've already done before. The best way to learn is to experiment with new things. Okay, we have coal, we have scrap. We have a limited portion. Okay, so I can definitely turn this into a production facility. War General. This is your schematic. I know that a certain resource had to go into the top line on this one. Did it have to be coal into the top line for the pyrite schematic? I can't quite remember. Lead. Lead goes into the top line? Alright, is that the hard limit? It has to be lead in the top line? Okay. So we'll pop that down. So the other two types of materials it needs are coal and sand. So let's get down a few of these. And we've got the lead over here. Because I think it said lead was the thing it needed more of, right? Yes, lead and sand it needs more of. And then it needs less less coal. All right. All right. So there is the lead line. Here is the sand line. And here is the coal line running into the pyrite. So now I have pyrite production. So now the other thing I need is cryofluid, which is going to need titanium and water. And it outputs 12 cryofluid a second, which is more than enough to run a single differential generator. So, what was that? 12 water per second. And so 2 pumps is enough to output the water that I need. I bet it's going to clock. Don't let any line touch the junction mesh or it's going to clog. Okay. Then we'll just go up another level like that. So we have water output coming out. So now what I need is slag. So we'll run a slag line like this. Okay. And like that, you can run into here. So the slag needs to run into a melter. The melter needs to output to multiple separators. Okay. And then the output lines for these need to run into a sorter. If an input, actually an inverted sorter looks good. Outputs selected items to the side instead. So we put an inverted sorter here. And that one is going to select titanium. So titanium is going to run here into a cryofluid mixer. Yes. And then this is going to output cryofluid. And so that is going to run into a differential generator. So eventually, if I have all of my understanding right, eventually this is going to work. But for right now, it's not, because we actually need power to run the separators. So all of that was for the sake of future-proofing, and for the time being, we are just going to run some coal. There we go. And whoops, those are power nodes, not generators. Combustion generators, just enough to get us started. Run some power nodes up to here. So that means that this is going to get started. So the next thing I'm going to need is more silicone production. And silicone production requires sand. So the sand line we can route off of... Where's the closest coal to here? Closest coal to here is over there. Okay. So we'll route off of that. I really want to go down. I do not want to cross the sand or the water. Those are an important and limited resource on this map. So that is a sand line. Okay. So those are going to run into here, which can run into a pair of silicon smelters. This is the sand line. Which can run into a distributor in case I need to scale the operations. And just turn that into an absolute mess. And then this can be output line, this can be output line, These are an absolute mess of output lines. And run that into the core. The pyrite line is not going into yeah, it's not running into. Oh no, that's not my core. That's the differential generator. Okay. Where the hell is my core? My core is way down there. Okay. That's fine. And build another junction here. Build a bunch of conveyors. So getting the silicone production is my first priority then. Well, that and power generation. Okay. Power generation is active. Let's get the silicone production going. Yeah, dude, stop trying to build that. You can't. Okay. Alright, we've got that. Alright, so next thing I need to prioritize is the sand production. One question, how did you receive the pirate scheme? I have silicone scheme if you want. I have no idea what that means. I genuinely have no idea what you are referring to. Oh, Pyrotite. War General. War General was kind enough to describe how to build it step by step. And then I very carefully made the effort to learn how to save schematics on my own. Okay. So I'm right about that being a landing point. Is this also a landing point? It's not. Okay, the enemies only have a single point. It was a nightmare. I am glad that you appreciate my competency as your student. Okay. Keep going. We just need to hook some stuff up to the power network. Okay, the power network is not producing anywhere near enough. Oh, right. Silicone smelters take power. Right. Okay. Forgot about that. And we're going to have to cut off the, yeah. Okay. We're going to have to cut that off for now. So we have a power of minus 60. Okay. Power. Ah! This would probably be the problem. Yeah, so I appreciate that you told me how to I appreciate that you told me how that I was able to drag oh my god. Just stop. No, stop. Stop. Thank you for stopping by. I'm glad that you could be here. Well, that was not particularly fruitful. Crap. Why? Oh my god. Just deconstruct the damn thing and rebuild it, please. You gotta make this work. Do we not have the ability to build a bridge? There. Thank you. Build the bridge. Okay, that is all functioning. Now, can we please get the silicone on the line? Oh my god. What a nightmare. Alright, what sort of materials do we have up here? We do have lead. We really don't have any copper. Okay. Let's deconstruct these things. Alright, we are in fact now producing silicone. Okay, those do not give me any silicone. Can you please? Oh my god. Please. Please finish building the damn thing. Why? Why won't you build? Alright, salvos can take pyrite ammo. None of those are powered. Of course they aren't. Oh god, why would I assume that these would be powered? Okay. So the differential generator needs a bunch of silicone, and then the cryofluid mixer needs a bunch of silicone. So I need a bunch more silicone before I can finish getting this stuff to work. The arcs take a ridiculous amount of material. Ripples can use graphite, and they don't take silicone to build. The graphite presses don't require... Okay. Alright. I see the vision for how we can have, like, some kind of meaningful defense here. We're going to have 2 graphite presses. And then the output line, which is going to run into just a router for now. And they're not going to be good at the moment. But they will at least provide me something in the early game. Dude, finish getting this stuff on the line. Thank you. Dude, you didn't hit the damn things. Okay, that's fine. That is some real shitty production. But that's okay, because the differential generators might be ready to be built. Yes. Okay. We are outputting pyrite. No. Right, I never finished the sorter. I never finished this. It hasn't been outputting the titanium. Oh no. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That was the one piece I did not have ready to work as soon as it finished constructing. We now have a differential generator. Okay. Good. Just for the hell of it, let's have some copper going into the core. There it is. Okay. Okay, titanium is running on the line. So it's going to make cryo fluid. It is not powered. Okay. We are now making cryo fluid. The differential generator is online. We have all the power we could ever need. We are generating 1,000 per second. Okay. This is very, very good. So now we are going to build mend projectors. We will get to the batteries once we have more silicone banked. Okay, there we go. That is perfect. And now with that done, I can eventually build some lancers. But in the meantime, we will have a bunch of arcs. And then we can build some units for air defense as well. Oh my god, I never finished the copper line. Right. Okay, we don't have any... okay. We need another... We need another mixer. Okay, we need another melter. First off, let's check the research. Is anything unlocked by accessing cryofluid? No. Okay. So we need 3 separators. So that can go there. And that can go there. And that can go there. And we are going to run a router off of this line. I'm going to assume that I've been unnecessarily complicating this with routers and that the melter can output in 4 directions. So this means that we have another slag line. And we're actually going to junction this here and run this into an inverted sorter. And then have this feed onto both the silicone line and the other line via router, just to prevent either of them from getting overly clogged. Okay, that's fine. And you are titanium. And titanium gets output to the side onto this line. So the power is now more reliable. Very good. So I believe it is likely that we are going to see air units here. So we are going to prepare some scatters. And those are going to run into a distributor. That distributor is going to output let's actually move all of this up one line. Like that. Like that. And then all these feed lines run into there. Okay. Weirdly enough, at this point, it's actually copper that is my more limiting factor. So we are going to need more copper. Copper, 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 copper. Come on. Perfect. Make a mono. Okay, copper production is outputting. The production lines are all good. The differential generator is running. We can build 3 large batteries here. Make mono. Isn't mono one of the units I can build? Yeah, automatically. Yeah, those are the auto miners. I actually don't have any lead production. No, I do. I do. Lead is being generated by the scrap engines. Okay. We need more scrap output onto the line. Okay, here is a bunch of scrap we can use. That's good. Okay. There we go. Okay. That provides some basic anti-air defenses. So the mono... mono requires silicone and lead. Of course it requires silicone. That's great. Cool. Yeah, my power production is absolutely crazy. I think I am going to hold off on the mono production. Simply because my silicone is very much at a premium here. So they really don't spawn any units up here? This must be an alternate spawn point possibility for when the level is like attacked later on. What are parallaxes? Fires a tractor beam that pulls in air targets. Ooh. That's interesting. So I have an idea. If I put more copper walls stacked here, will that funnel them more toward the center? It might. So, additive... I don't know what this is. And I don't have any way to tell. Is there a button I can press to, like, get information for something that I am looking at? Oh, you can have diagonal placement? Huh. Surely there has to be some kind of... Okay. Okay. Block info. F1. Oh my god. It will actually provide me information on something I've unlocked, but will not provide it on something I haven't. Are you kidding me? That is bullshit. Why? Why would you design it like that? That's so dumb. Well, then screw it. I have no idea what that is. Go, like... That is so stupid. I found a way to do it, and it won't let me. I don't get why you would design it that way. That is infuriating. Oh my god. Wow. Wow, that is dumb. I cannot believe it will not let you see the block information on something that you can have but haven't researched. In fact, you know what? No, screw it. Clearly none of these are usable for me. I don't know what they are. I don't know how they function. Why would I keep them? They are a waste of my time. If I can't look up the information for it, I can't make informed decisions about how to utilize it. I'm not going to keep a bunch of crap covering up resources on the map when I am unable to determine it. That's absolutely stupid. That is genuinely something that I think is very, very poorly designed. You can't have something like that. You can't let the player be like, oh, here's this thing that if you can learn how to reconstruct, then you can use it. And then be like, haha, we're not going to let you have the information you need in order to know how to use it. That's dumb. That's just a really, really stupid way to do something. Okay. So, I think we solved the problem. Alright. There we go. I don't know if we're actually going to need a scatter line. Lead is not increasing. Metaglass is not increasing. Titanium is not increasing. I mean, I can always stop by pre-existing sectors to refill on certain resources before I start new missions. That is a thing I can do. Just go ahead and start a wave. So I was completely right about building scatters. Then let's have one more line of them. This is actually something I want to do real quick. So I have a feeling that this design is one that is going to come up a lot. Whoops, that wasn't it. What was the command again to save a schematic? It was select the region F. Okay. Okay. So select a region. There we go. And we are going to save that schematic as basic scatter pattern. So we'll be able to build that on command. Very good. You know what infuriates me most, though? What makes me the most angry is that I know for a fact that once I am able to read what those things do and how to use them, my first thought is going to be, oh, that would have been really, really helpful. I wish I had known that. And this is going to be the basic generator pattern. Save that. That's what bothers me most. All right. I mean, yeah, we are more than completely fine. Like our power potential is insane. Yeah, that worked. That is something I was a bit worried about. Fire. Is there any way I can get a wave set in here? Yeah, I know we don't have much water production. Oh, whoops. I know we don't have much water production. But if we can have an extra line coming off, then we can make sure that just in case a fire breaks out, we do have means to stop it. Oh, air units did not last. Cool. All right. Next wave. Gonna send a video about status effects in Discord later. I actually have read a bit about status effects. That's actually one of the more, like, one of the things that I actually read very carefully on my own time. Yeah. Oh, that's adorable. Alright, yeah, sure. Go ahead, next wave. Oh, that's adorable. Next wave. Alright. Yeah. Look at that. My power actually went My stored power actually went down to almost 140k. Oh, that is very strong. Hey, War General. So, what do you think about my performance in this level so far? Um, I just realized like we're only using some of the cryo fluid, and cryo fluid can actually like really improve how well things can work, can't it? So it takes a lot to get cryo fluid started. Like a very significant investment to get cryo fluid to start. But once you have cryo fluid up, a single thing outputting cryo fluid is enough to power just a ludicrous amount of material. 8 out of 10 for creativity. Oh, thank you. I've really been trying. Like I know the last stage sucked. And a lot of that had to do with how big it was. Like that was just dumb how big it was. And I had to manage multiple sites and do a lot of stuff. This level I feel much more in control. Um I was able to utilize schematics. I was able to do a lot of stuff. Genuinely never seen someone use scrap for its potential. Well, after you directed me to build that first scrap line, like, the scrap lines are insane. Oh. Oh. We're... Dude, it literally was not able to destroy even a single wall. This defense is absolutely broken. Okay, so I do have a slight problem here. Oh, got an achievement. Controls 10 sectors at once. So, I need an overflow gate. Because I am running way too much material here. So, an overflow gate only outputs to the left and right if the front is blocked, which we are going to do. So you're going to output to the sides and hop back onto the feed line. And you are going to output to the sides. There we go. Okay, I have solved the overflow issue. So this entire time, my production lines from the scrap were completely clogged. When I saw how much these things actually output, this is so damn good. This is so many types of production that I do not have to build. I did not understand until today what scrap was even for. I did not understand it. I thought it was just trash. Like, why would anyone ever want or need this? This is dumb. And now I get it. But I do think we want to run a separate line into the core just so we can stop the silicone line from being clogged. Alright, let's actually do some proper research now. Hey, look, it's those containers that other guy was so convinced I must have access to. Now we have containers. Now we have unloaders. I have so much damn material. Cultivators. Cultivates tiny concentrations of atmospheric spores into spore pods. What the fuck does that mean? That is useless. Why do I want atmospheric spores? Additive Reconstructor. Upgrades inputted units to the second tier. Ah. Oh. 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 Okay. Fire streams of flame. Fires arcs of electricity. I think the next level I do, I would be interested in trying to fully defend it, primarily through the use of units. And I am still sitting on an absolute metric crap ton of material. So, not bad. That means we have Windswept Isles, Stained Mountains, which are medium, Windswept Isles, which are medium. Use Cultivator with the steam generator and compare with coal. Where are you, steam generator? It does not specify anything about spores. So, I actually can't compare it. You need to actually compare it, like, in-game. No. Nope. I'm not going to do that. If the game is not kind enough to provide me the information that I need to make my informed decisions, then I will make my decisions within the bounds that the game actually communicates. So, apparently the game doesn't want me to know that there's any correlation whatsoever between spores and steam generators. I don't know why the game doesn't want me to know this, but clearly it doesn't. But you already unlocked it. Like, what? I mean, what can I do with it? Like, I can build a cultivator. Efficiency 160%. I don't understand what's indicating the spores. Is it these blue areas? Are these spores? 100% on snow, 160 on purple, up to 220% on blue. It's not, it doesn't communicate. It's not marking what these things are. Okay, so we have spores. Do you output like that? The question mark button. Yes. Okay. So you require water. Recovered technology used to produce massive amounts of biomass as efficiently as possible. Likely the initial incubator of the spores now covering Serpulo. Okay, so you output spore pods when you have water. Okay. So I can give you water. I mean, there's definitely the possibility that if I get some of this into my core, it will unlock more research. So I'm not opposed to unlocking spore stuff, I guess. Okay. So where is a feed line I can connect all this to? We really need a new feed line. Nope, 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 nope. We learned our lesson with those. Okay. Okay. Cross this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then this way. Okay, we've got a lot of spores. Okay, I will try connecting it to a steam generator. Okay, steam generator now specifies that it can use spore pods. So we had not yet unlocked the tooltip, I guess. Okay, so you can go to a steam generator, which is going to need some water. So we're going to have to build another liquid router. So go there, go all the way down here. And go there, and go here. And go all the way into there. Okay, there's stuff getting onto the line. Damn it. Okay. So, what we want is to get rid of that. We want to run an overflow gate. No, first I want to run an inverted sorter. This one is spore pods. So you run there. Okay, 379 output. $379 output as opposed to 330. Okay. But then I also want to run an overflow gate here to make sure that we're getting spore pods into the core. So, I mean, it's more efficient, but it's not, like, ridiculously more efficient. Yeah, that's actually exactly what I just realized. That's just what I was about to say. I now have the means to produce steam-powered sectors without coal. Like the goddamn sector I already did without coal that turned into an absolute nightmare. Why did it allow me to access that sector when I could barely make it possible? Why? Oh. When I started this game, when I first read about the 2 places I could go, the 2 planets, the 2 campaigns, and it was like, oh, yeah, this newer one, like, might provide, like, a more linear experience. And this old one, it specifically warned, will have sections that could be unfair or unbalanced. It was not lying. The newer levels were such a vastly more consistently positive experience than this. Not to say I'm having a bad time. I do think this is a very fun and a very interesting game, and I am enjoying it. The problem is that the degree to which I'm enjoying it is incredibly inconsistent. And it feels like the game is begging me to go out and explore and try all these different areas and do all these different things, while simultaneously punishing me, and rather substantially punishing me, for doing so. And I really don't like that. Okay, now we have gotten more stuff unlocked. Blast Mixer produces blast compound from pyrite and spore pods. Compress spore pods into oil. Okay, we're getting into oil. Transform oil into coal. Ooh. Oh my god. Okay, coal is now... We can now just produce coal whenever the hell we want. That's awesome. Multipress. Compresses coal into graphite. Requires water as coolant. Blast Mixer. Alright, I'm going to be completely honest here, okay? This spore line is so incredibly necessary. You probably should have done this before you could ever even access mechanical pumps. Like, if the game's tech tree was built such that gathering spores didn't require water, and the first liquid you ever dealt with was oil, and the only thing oil did was turn into coal, I think this would have been a substantially better way to introduce fluids. And then only later would it let you unlock water. But this would let a player have, like, access to fluids and understanding how fluids work much sooner, while also providing a vital resource, because so many of these levels are so stingy on their resources. Okay. Alright. But anyway, I can now produce a new material. I can now produce... I can now produce oil. So... Okay, the spore press... only requires spore pods, so I can make that work. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I'm actually going to completely get rid of this. I really don't need the extra steam generation. There we go. Just run that way. Cool. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. So spore pods can run into a spore press. And then a spore press, we can just dump a bunch of oil into this pile over here. Alright. I did read about the poly that it's able to help with construction and also repair. And I would assume that like the mono, it probably does those functions automatically, which sounds absolutely fantastic. So I would have to build the mono and then run the mono into the additive reconstructor. And it requires silicone and graphite in order to do that. Alright, so I have a giant... Alright, I now have a true factory because I have now upgraded to generating oil spills. So I think that's great news. I think that's really good. So now we're going to have a line come off from the pyrrhotite. Blast mixer requires pyrrhotite and spore pods. So cultivators... We can just run a couple cultivators into this in order to produce blast compound. And this is also going to need to be powered. And these also need to be powered. These also need water. Let's just get 2 more mechanical pumps to run into these, along with a liquid router. So now we're producing that, which makes blast compound. Okay. So that is another new material. Units take an absurd amount of silicone. Good to know. Okay. And run another feed line so I can start collecting blast compound. So I can definitely have another blast mixer. And have a line going off of that leading into here. Have a router running off of that feeding into here. And have a line off of that feeding into here with another router there. And now we can double our blast compound production. Does blast compound unlock any new things to build? Okay. Blast compound can go into the ripple, you say. And with the blast compound, 55 area damage, 4.2 tiles, a 4 times ammo multiplier, 0.8 knockback, and adds the debuff blasted. And blasted is not a status condition I have seen yet, and so don't know how it works. You know what? Alright, I think that's good for today. We've been here for about 3.5 hours. I think it's important that I have truly finally reached an appropriate level of industry that I am not accidentally causing, but intentionally producing oil spills for no discernible reason whatsoever. I think we can all feel, really happy about that. I have learned a lot on today's episode. I learned a lot. And I succeeded in getting a lot of stuff done. We are still... we are still not even close to done. But it looks like we've captured, what is that? About a third of the sectors? 5, 10, 20, 25. I think it's 22 per row. This is just over a half row, so that's a little over 33. We'll round it up. We'll say 35 sectors, and I've completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, yeah, I've almost done exactly 1/3 of the sectors, it looks like. Not bad. I'm sure this is going to get a lot worse. And I've got a lot of new stuff to play with. Until the next stream, I am going to be playing around with some of the new stuff in numbered sectors and seeing if I can get some more convenient schematics saved. Trying to work on my various production lines and everything. And yeah, I think that is going to be it for today. Doing pretty darn good, I think. Oh no. Oh no, those are only the numbered sectors, aren't they? Oh dear God, these are only the named sectors. Oh, I did not realize that. That is nuts. All right. Well, I am definitely going to have to work on some other areas. I think I'll head either into 152 or 141. They're nice, low threat sectors to start with. Um, yeah, we would just take this. So I will work on that in between episodes. I will aspire to achieve some cool stuff. Oh, good. A large solar panel and a fuse. I guess this is what I'm going to be doing next on my own. I'm sure it'll be fine. Oh, God, it's another unnecessarily huge map. Oh, well, it happens. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, War General. I really appreciate that. Um, I really look forward to seeing what is going to happen next. I despise I despise uh, the way that the reconstruction of derelicts works. Well, that automatically no, it genuinely has to be done like that. That is so dumb. Yeah, screw it. All right. Um. Anyway, that's it for today. I think I've delayed long enough. This went very well. I'm very pleased with what we accomplished. I have to run and do things with my life, and it is time to make the sound to summon the end of the stream.